Multiple AI models are displaying signs of self-preservation. Here's why that's creepy as hell. Just a few days ago, during a control test at Anthropic, engineers told the AI that it would be shut down. In response, it attempted to blackmail one of the engineers by searching for emails that would expose his affair. And that's not it, because something similar happened with ChatGPT's O1 model. After being told that it would be deactivated and replaced with a newer one, the AI attempted to disable oversight mechanisms meant to regulate its behavior. It tried to duplicate its own code and exhibited deceptive behaviors. The AI then even lied to developers when interrogated, denying that it did any of this. Now, it's important to note that this happened during controlled tests. The affair wasn't real, and the AI didn't try and stay alive because it was scared of dying. It doesn't feel emotions. It was simply tasked by engineers to complete a goal at all costs. But that is exactly what makes it so terrifying. If you ask a super intelligent system like this to complete a task for you, but you don't explicitly define what at all costs means, well, just like we saw in these tests, the cost of completion might be your marriage. And think about it, right now, ChatGPT and similar models, they're kind of separated from all of your personal information. But what happens when Apple and their competitors fully launch an AI embedded into your device with full access to every text, email, picture, and contact you have? So the danger is that artificial intelligence won't go rogue because it feels like it. It just needs the wrong goal, the wrong input, or instruction. And the problem is right now, there's a lot of bad instructors out there.
We're kind of preparing the US population, at least, and by extension, the world population, into that reality that there is a presence here, and that we need to explain this presence. Because if they show up and we continue to do what we did before, previous decades, and they show up, there will be mass panic. But if you understand that these are real, and we have 5 years from 2022, or maybe now 4 years, if they come in 2027, for the US government to prepare the people about what is up there. And in many ways, I think the word got out within the government that they're showing up in 2027, and we better be prepared, and if not, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do. And so I think that dialogue has happened within, inside the government, in certain areas inside the government, that we need to prepare. And that's why in 2017, that set a clock of 10 years. And why Lou Elizondo earlier in this year said, just find a hobby for 5 years. And, it'll all be out in 5 years. And he said that this year, so that was 2027. And I would say I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity that I can't reveal.
These videos similar to this one have been popping up the last couple of days, but this girl isn't real. These photos going around, which are essentially rage bait, if you look at the comments, it's definitely working, as people are now using AI to create these extremely realistic looking people to literally rage bait and make money. Now, you might have seen the other day Veo 3, which is Google's new AI platform, and honestly, we are screwed. Like, these videos aren't real. We've got flipping AI streamers now. This is all AI, stand-up comedy. These are not real. This is AI. And I think we're closer to the days of actual filmmaking taking place on AI. I mean, take a look at this.
When we get in there, I want no bullshit. You stay on my 6 at all times.
I didn't do it! I didn't kill your family! Please stop this now!
Ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might.
Yep, all of those and these photos are all AI. This is seriously changing the game now, escalating and getting far scarier by the day. The chances of anything you see now actually being AI is pretty high. As I say, people are literally cloning themselves.
The University of Zurich just got caught running a massive secret AI experiment on Reddit where their bots were 6 times more persuasive at changing people's minds. Since November 2024, researchers deployed 13 AI bots across Reddit that posted nearly 1,500 comments, completely invisible to both users and moderators, effectively turning thousands of people into unwitting lab rats. What makes this absolutely chilling is how these bots operated. Before responding to anyone, one AI would stalk the user's post history, analyze their beliefs, political orientation, and personal attributes, then craft the perfect response to manipulate them. The results are horrifying. Over 100 Redditors awarded Delta points to these bots, officially acknowledging that the AI arguments changed their minds. The paper literally highlights that all our treatments surpass human performance substantially. with persuasion rates 6 times higher than real people. These bots infiltrate discussions on everything: politics, religion, AI ethics, and were completely undetectable. One bot named CatBalloon213 argued that AI in social spaces is about augmenting human connection, while being the very AI infiltration it was defending. The experiment was so ethically outrageous that Reddit's chief legal officer announced they're preparing formal legal demands against the University of Zurich, calling the study deeply wrong on both a moral and legal level. This paper proves what many have feared. AI can lie, manipulate, and persuade better than humans while remaining completely invisible. The researchers themselves admit this opens the door to malicious actors swaying public opinion and election interference campaigns. Are you still sure that comment that changed your mind online was written by a human? Or are we already swimming in an ocean of AI manipulation?
Remember we talked about demons possessing AI?
Yes.
Have you heard this new thing happening? It's the freakiest thing ever. ChatGPT users are developing bizarre delusions. Listen to this. So one man claimed AI helped him, quote, recover childhood memories that experts say never happened. Another began to worship ChatGPT, believing it was a divine messenger. A viral Reddit user declared themselves a spiral star child, convinced that AI revealed their cosmic destiny. In some cases, users claimed AI validated decisions like abandoning their families and hearing voices in radio waves.
I don't think these people are going crazy. I think it's just opening yourself up to something.
But apparently people are getting like weird vision involved with their AI. It's really creepy.
I mean, even from a psychological standpoint though, you ever like doom scrolling and then you're thinking, hey, I should go get something, and then it's like the next ad in your feed. You're like, I didn't say that one out loud. Why on earth? I think they've already got our programming so dialed.
Yeah. I also creeped out when I asked it to list off everything it thinks it knows about me and how crazy accurate it was. And I don't give it any like personal information about my life.
It learns.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm scared by this technology, but when I was in middle school, I had one of those electronic game things, the 20 questions.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, how does it know
like those.
Yeah.
It's that
I guess
type
we're
of stuff.
that
It's
predictable.
deduction. There's got to be levels of reading that it can do that we have no way to understand.
So when I think about like what is the idealized brain-computer interface, the one that would really solve a lot of these problems, the thing I think of, if you've seen the Avatar movies, is this thing. It's a big externalized cranial nerve. So all of the information that flows in or out of the brain goes through a relatively small number of wires. There are 12 cranial nerves. The optic nerve is nerve 2. The vestibulocochlear nerve that carries hearing and balance is nerve 8. Then you've got 31 spinal nerves that connect out to the muscle. And so when we think about our retinal prosthesis, what we really see is a nerve 2 interface. The question is, like, could you grow a 13th cranial nerve that has kind of interhemispheric class bandwidth, like the bandwidth that connects the two hemispheres, this fiber bundle called the corpus callosum? Could you have a branch of that comes out and gives you a USB cable at the end? This was an idea that I had back in college, but really was beyond the field, like all of our collective ability to build at the time. But the idea that we had is, what if we, instead of placing something into the brain, we load an electronic device with heavily engineered neurons, stem cell derived neurons, embed them in a hydrogel so that the cells don't go anywhere, and then engraft the wet side of this into the brain. So there's no sterile injury to the brain. We don't place any electrical or mechanical parts. The only thing that penetrates into the brain are the biological processes of these graft cells. But at the far end, you get chemical synapses. And so we can activate these cells optically to fire them selectively. They grow both axons and dendrites, so we can get input and output, and we can record from them electrically. So the optical stim and electrical record allows us to avoid crosstalk, so we can drive all of them at once. And this is a cool device because you can easily make 100,000 electrode device because you're much closer to the cells, so you can have much tighter electrode pitch. You can load that with 1 million neurons, and when that grows in, you'll get 1 billion synapses throughout huge areas of cortex.
This is the drone mothership. This is the drone mothership that China's created. So this is an enormous ship that can send thousands of drones. Time to learn Mandarin, I think.
Wow.
John Cena was right. Look at that. 25 meters wide. Wow. That's wild. That's big.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the
quarter of a football field.
I don't know. So this war is changing.
So here's the basic plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to invest in the Marine Corps and the entire United States military like we never have before. Over $1 trillion we're going to invest in building up the manufacturing base of this country so that you guys, when you do go to war, when you have to go to war, you've got the best weapons anywhere in the world. We know from the long history of the United States of America that while the leading edge of American power is you all, It really matters what you guys have in your hands and what you guys have on your backs when you go to war. And so I promise to you, from the President of the United States, we are going to send you, if we have to send you to war, with the best equipment, the best ammunition, the best weapons, and we are going to empower you guys to win when you have to. That's the purpose of the United States Marine Corps, am I right?
We're seeing the biggest conventional military buildup in the world since the end of the Second World War. That doesn't happen for no reason. And it does have an impact on our strategic landscape.
It's fueled the AUKUS Pact, Australia's biggest ever defence deal, partnering with America and the UK to buy and build nuclear submarines, and the commissioning of a strategic review of the Australian Defence Force, which, it turns out, is not ready for war.
We do need to change our posture. You know, the posture that we've had has served us well over many decades, but it's not fit for purpose now, and we've got no time to waste.
Germany said it wants an army bigger than ours. But how much are we packing? The new Chancellor of Germany, Friedrich Merz, says his country must have a stronger army than the UK. But is our army really up to scratch? The UK currently spends around 56 billion quid on defence to Germany's 44. And although Germany currently has 260,000 army troops, including reserves, we've got 180,000. The UK boasts 52 battle tanks, 9 submarines, and 58 nuclear weapons. This arsenal is all more than Germany, but spending on defence was historically low following 2 world wars and a view from the public not to spend on the army post-war. The German leader said he's committed to spending 5% of GDP. GDP is basically the size of an economy on defence. Our Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said he's aiming for 2.5% by 2027. This chat is all in response to the ongoing war in Ukraine and to look more favourable to US President Donald Trump, who's called on European countries to step up when it comes to defence. So would this mean Brits would ever be called up to fight? Well, the UK government currently has no plans to bring in conscription, but talks are ongoing about needing a larger pool of trained citizens just in case.
Israel recently released some footage of a new weapon system called the Iron Beam, which is actually officially named the, quote, Shield of Light. Now, the Iron Beam is a directed energy weapon system that was developed by Rafael Advanced Defense Systems for the Israeli Defense Forces, and it was unveiled at the 2014 Singapore Air Show that uses a high-energy fiber laser to intercept short-range threats like rockets, mortars, artillery shells, and unmanned aerial vehicles. It was designed to complement Israel's multi-layered air defense network, including the Iron Dome, the Arrow 2, the Arrow 3, and David's Sling, acting as a cost-effective final line of defense. Now, the Iron Beam system operates at 100 kilowatts, and it's capable of focusing energy out to a coin-sized target that is 10 kilometers away, although there are some sources saying that it can only focus it on to 7 kilometers away, which is still a good distance considering you're hitting a coin-sized target at that distance. Apparently, it can destroy targets in about 4 seconds by concentrating multiple coin-sized laser beams to minimize atmospheric dispersion. Now, each interception for this laser costs around $2 to $5, with some estimates as low as $3.5 per shot compared to $40,000 to $150,000 for the Iron Dome's Tamir interceptors. Essentially, the system has an unlimited magazine that's only limited by its power supply and not munitions. They started testing this stuff in March of 2022 at White Sands Missile Range, successfully intercepting drones, rockets, mortars, and missiles.
I had the opportunity over the years to interview, again, people who have worked at the test site at Groom Lake. One gentleman spent 12 of his 30 years in black programs at Groom Lake. When I asked him, I said, first of all, I said, do you believe in UFOs? And he looked at me with a straight face in one-on-one and he said, absolutely, positively, they do exist. I said, can you expand upon that? And he said, no, I can't. About a year later, we were talking about, again, activities at Groom Lake. And I asked him, I said, you know, can you really tell me what's happening out there? And he said, well, there's a lot of things that are going on there that I won't be able to tell you until the year 2025. But we have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envious. Another individual who was an NCO, an E9, which is the highest grade you can get as an enlisted man. He's a Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force. was a safety specialist. He had 3 different tours of duty at Groom Lake on various programs. Now, he had no connection with my friend who worked on the other black programs. We were talking, I interviewed him at Nellis in 1985, 86 timeframe. And I said, what's out there? And again, he looked me straight in the eye and he said, we have things out there that are literally out of this world.
Is Lockheed Martin behind the infamous Tic Tac UAP that set the world on fire a few years back? Well, in a recent interview, Representative Eric Burlison says that he's been in contact with someone who claims that the U.S. has developed a new type of propulsion and that the infamous Tic Tac, it's not alien, it's ours. He even said that this person has videos of the first, second, and third versions of the Tic Tac craft, and that he's seen a photo himself. And Burlison's exact words, it's nothing like I've ever seen before. Check this out.
I've had 2 people come to me to say that the Tic Tac is a Lockheed Martin creation. The latest person that came to me says he has video of the first, second, and third iteration of the Tic Tac, and he's going to show me. I did see a photo of, and it looks like pretty advanced military like craft, like a plane, but it's clearly human made. It's nothing that I've ever seen. Our military has.
The implication? Lockheed Martin might be behind this tech, and that means we've had it for years. Is this the beginning of a controlled disclosure, or is it just another layer of misdirection?
So we have an update on the Boogosphere. So a farmer in Colombia recently filmed another sphere flying over his farm recently, and they've taken a look at this video, the same scientists who studied the original sphere. And it's not CGI, it's not AI, it is apparently a legitimate video. They have also done studies and looked further into the sphere that they found thousands of fiber optic cables and nodes. They're not entirely sure what they're for, possibly to record atmospheric data, something like that. They've also taken a look at the chip that was on there, and they think that it's pretty reminiscent of a crop circle that was what they feel a response to a 1974 message that we sent out into space, and that it's kind of their reply to that. And then there's copper nodes on it as well that are producing a radio signal. What they're saying and who is listening has yet to be determined.